Hillary Clinton Wednesday conceding the presidential race to Donald Trump. Her loss, a stunning defeat for Democrats and an outcome most pollsters and pundits did not see coming. So what went wrong for Clinton and how did the polls miss it? Doug Schoen is a Democratic pollster and Fox News contributor. So Doug, was this a personal defeat for Mrs. Clinton, or was this something larger for the Democratic Party?
I think it was both. It was certainly a defeat for Secretary Clinton. She was seen to have an unenthusiastic base of support that never got over 50% and ended up around 47, 48%. It's also a defeat, Paul, for the Democratic Party. The party is now leaderless. It lacks a message. And with the prospective nomination of Keith Ellison to lead the Democratic National Committee,
Congressman from Minnesota,
who is certainly on the far left of the Democratic Party, as I see it. That is a direction that is, I think, antithetical to the way the electorate voted this Tuesday.
But the Democratic Party, a lot of them people are blaming Secretary Clinton. They're saying, you know, the mistake was you went with somebody who was old. Let's face it, a lot of Democrats are saying that. Uninspiring, not charismatic.
Right.
Continued the status quo.
Sure.
No big message. So it was her personal defeat, not a larger Democratic
defeat.
Well,
it was, because if you look at the Senate elections with the Republicans keeping the Senate, if you look at the House elections where the losses, which had been projected to be 15 to 20 seats or more for the Republicans, were I think 6 if I have my numbers correct, Paul, I think this was a complete repudiation of the party that I belong to, and now the party appears potentially to be moving further left, which I think is a profound mistake.
Well, there was, after 2012, a lot of talk about what the so-called coalition of the ascendant, as the journalists talked about it. It was the Obama coalition.
Right.
It was minorities. It was young people. It was women. That this was the demographic future for America, and therefore a permanent majority, more or less, as permanent as things get in politics, for Democrats. What happened? The coalition of the ascendant kind of vanished. Well, was it a personal coalition for Obama, principally?
I think it was a personal coalition for Obama. The other side of it is what got me interested in the Democratic Party was that it was an inclusive party that stood for a social safety net and a strong assertion of American values overseas. That's largely gone. It is now a party of redistribution and, frankly, retrenchment. Paul, I see the Democratic Party as really now, as I suggested, leaderless and looking for a message while it lurches left.
So you're saying that that coalition just couldn't sustain itself without President Obama at the top of the ticket?
Precisely so. And white working-class voters, which flocked to Donald Trump, are an essential part of that coalition, was part of the coalition when I worked for Bill Clinton, and was absent for the Democrats Tuesday.
So, and how much of it was economically based?
I think the movement against Hillary Clinton and against Barack Obama was economically based, because that white working class has seen
no income increase.
Precisely. Wage stagnation, underemployment, some increase in unemployment, but the larger American dream is largely gone for them. Their kids aren't going to do better than them. There is real difficulty financing education, retirement, and health care, and they were looking for a new approach, which Trump offered.
It's fascinating to look at the red and blue map of the states, right? And you've got the West Coast, kind of prosperous, California, Oregon, Washington. Then you've got the East, the Northeast, where you also have higher income folks, and certainly in the cities, which have been doing fine.
Yes.
And do you think that the Democrats listen too much to the voices in those parts of the country instead of in middle America, where that's where Trump won the election, from Florida all the way across to the Mountain West?
Undeniably, the Democrats have listened to both coasts, Washington, New York, to the exclusion of what I would call the real America, which is working class.
Now, there are also real Americans on the coast.
I understand, and I don't mean that they're not real, and I'm certainly part of that class proudly and unabashedly. But you know what? You can't run a party based on New York, Washington, and Los Angeles with a little Silicon Valley thrown in. It doesn't work, and it's not representative.
All right. Now, in the Democratic response, you talked about Keith Ellison maybe to the DNC, but there's also some choices that Democrats in the Senate in particular have to make. Some people will want to say, let's do to President Trump what Republicans did to President Obama in 2010. Reject, 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 and we'll have a big wave election. Smart?
I don't think so. I think Democrats have to be true to their values, but support things like a big infrastructure program. I don't think that the Democrats can succeed by just saying no to Donald Trump, particularly where there's going to be a fix or a replacement of Obamacare. For the Democrats just to say no is to potentially abrogate all responsibility and all influence in the country.
So do a big tax reform for infrastructure deal and help them fix Obamacare.
Right, but do things that Trump has said that he likes that Democrats want, like getting rid of carried interest.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Doug Schoen.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for being here.